At first, this girl looks like a mid-noble lady, hella rich. Then her fiancé publicly dumps her. She doesn't cry. Nah, she would win. The series starts in a room full of jerks. It's a ball, and amongst all these annoying noblemen is a girl, Scarlet. All eyes seem to be on Scarlet and Prince Kyle, whose face, I must say, looks rather punchable. Kyle is the main reason for the attention and ruckus. He is engaged to Scarlet, but he has chosen to announce that he is terminating their engagement to pursue a relationship with another girl, Terraneza. The crowd is clearly in favor of the new couple, showering them with compliments and applause. Kyle proudly claims that Terraneza is far better than Scarlet, whom he belittles as emotionless, dull, and stupid. He expresses that he dreads the 17 years he spent as her fiancé. In response, Scarlet maintains a stoic demeanor and reminds Kyle that their engagement was arranged by both royal families before they were even born. She asserts that Kyle can't simply decide to end it on his own. Prince Kyle is confident he can, with his reason being that Scarlet has done a lot of terrible things. According to Terraneza, Scarlet bullied her at their academy, but Scarlet insists she had never met Terraneza until this very day. It is evident that no one believes her, as the prince goes on to list various accusations he believes Scarlet committed against Terraneza, the type of dramatic actions you'd see in Korean high school dramas. Accepting their judgment and realizing they already view her as a villainess, Scarlet decides there is no reason to hold back any longer. She speaks up and makes one final request. Kyle is hesitant to grant this request, but Terraneza persuades him to allow it, as this is Scarlet's last request. Terraneza is putting in a great effort to appear as a benevolent princess. When Kyle gives Scarlet the go-ahead, she politely asks to put Terraneza to sleep. Of course, she doesn't wait for a go-ahead as she takes a satisfying stance, ready to throw a one-punch man level punch.
I don't always fart, but when I do.
That punch is packed with so much rage, and here's why. Right from childhood, Scarlet has always loved beating up others. Although she only beat up bad kids, she was enjoying this way too much. Her older brother Leo has always tried his best, wanting her to be more reserved and ladylike. Considering they were hosting a ball, Scarlet tried to behave in her best manner. This is where she met Kyle, who immediately exerted his dominance, treating Scarlet like a slave. He was basically bullying her, and when Scarlet tried reporting to her father, it was clear he couldn't do anything about this, as Kyle is the prince, and her engagement to him was arranged by the royal family. A couple of years later, Scarlet turned 15 and was now attending a school for nobles. Despite her great reputation, grades, and good looks, Kyle and his lackeys still treated her like garbage. By this time, Scarlet was already so used to his behavior that she became unfazed by this, emotionless. No one, Scarlet's friends included, could defy Kyle no matter what he did, considering he's the prince. Until one particular school day when Bro got salty because he was probably jealous of Scarlet's good grades. Being the evil dude that he is, he attempted to cut off her nice silver hair, but Scarlet wasn't having it. She first threatened to report him, which would terminate their engagement. And when this didn't work, Scarlet was just about to let loose. She clenched her fist, ready to throw hands, but just then, Kyle's elder brother, Prince Julius, intervened. Unlike Kyle, Julius is a gentleman. He apologized for his brother's actions and made Kyle, who was whining like a 7-year-old, leave. He pretty much saved Kyle's life, as that wicked punch Scarlet was cooking up would have turned Bro into a vegetable.
When I catch you, Ricky! Ricky, when I catch you, Ricky! Ricky, when I catch you, Ricky!
After Kyle left, Scarlet thanked Prince Julius for his help, but it's clear that he understands how dire the situation could have become. He was just trying not to lose a brother. Curious, Scarlet asked Julius why he was out there in the first place, and he explained that he needed a quiet spot to study. His classroom is too noisy due to his peers constantly surrounding him, given the fact that he's a prince. In the kingdom of Palestine, there are two princes. Julius, the just and disciplined prince, faces opposition from many who fear he may pose a threat to their corrupt activities, given his intolerance for wrongdoing. As a result, they rally behind Kyle, the foolish and irresponsible prince, believing he should ascend to the throne. Essentially, the kingdom is divided into factions, those who support Kyle and those who support Julius. Julius is being really slick. It's almost as if he's trying to steal his brother's girl. Probably not, right? He considers Scarlet interesting, and for a brief second she would have had an expression. From that day, Julius had always been around. When the aptitude test results came in for the first time, Scarlet wasn't the top scorer. She was shocked and pissed that Prince Julius had comfortably bagged the position, and this clearly seemed like a challenge. Scarlet locked in, trained, and studied like never before until she reclaimed her spot at the top. He casually congratulated her with a tap on the head, and this gave her friends the impression that they were close, although Scarlet tried to debunk it. It brings up the argument that he probably let her pass him so she could be happy. Considering the rumors are already going around, Scarlet made a resolve to never engage in any of Julius's provocations. Scarlet ignored any form of small talk from Julius, but this dude just keeps appearing everywhere. After this went on for a while, Scarlet outrightly asked Julius why he keeps popping up everywhere, and it's clearly not a coincidence as he claims. It seems very purposeful. Julius, remaining lighthearted as ever, keeps getting cracked up as Scarlet's expressions are amusing to him. Even though her face barely changes, he swore he's learned to read her like a book. According to him, every thought she has shows right there on her face. Naturally, that annoyed Scarlet to no end. As they walked, Julius asked about Kyle, and Scarlet mentioned she hadn't spoken to or come across him lately. Just then, it hits her. Maybe Julius has been hanging around just to keep Kyle away. Whatever flashed through her mind must have been obvious because Julius immediately comments on it. He complimented her hair, saying he wouldn't have forgiven himself if his brother's stupidity had caused her to lose it. Julius admits that Scarlet is the most interesting, and while this is really getting to her, he completes his sentence that she's the most interesting animal of all his specimens. Of course, being referred to as an animal did hit Scarlet hard. Julius played it off and even joked that Scarlet should get engaged to him instead, ensuring her a better treatment than his brother. Yeah, she declined. That said, everything she's bottled up from back then till now is about to explode right here in this fancy ballroom. Scarlet throws the first punch at Terraneza, a punch so powerful it makes All Might's 100% look like a warm-up. She heads over to the nobles, ready to deliver the long-awaited beatdown. Basically, everyone who's ever wronged her is about to catch these hands. The terrified noblemen call for guards, but Scarlet just puts them to sleep with her magic. Yeah, magic is a thing in this kingdom. Now it's just her and her victims. The nobles start begging for mercy, but Scarlet's on a roll, calmly dishing out punches like she's passing out snacks. With a boost from her magic, she accelerates, zipping around the room and hitting everyone in sight. She's like Santa, but instead of gifts, it's KOs for everyone. Soon enough, every noble is down cold, and for the grand finale, Prince Kyle, the once alpha male, now looks like a scared extra in a one-on-one against Homelander. Like Mike Tyson with a wig, Scarlet readies her knuckles, takes aim, and lands a clean, satisfying punch. By the time Leo and Prince Julius burst in, it's all over. Having unleashed all that rage, Scarlet finally smiles, lighter, freer, and oh so satisfied. All the noblemen look like they just finished fist-fighting Ippo, with Scarlet standing over them. While Prince Julius finds this amusing, Leo is petrified. After taking notice of them, Scarlet respectfully greets the prince. Prince Julius says they came because they saw some noblemen fleeing and is curious as to why Scarlet had to go all John Wick on them. Leo just wants to know if she had enough reason for this, and Scarlet explains that they committed wrongdoings and didn't show any form of remorse. She was forced to make punching bags out of them. Prince Julius gets the main point, finding it really funny as Scarlet points out blankly that they pissed her off and she had to beat them up. Prince Julius mentions that since he met Scarlet, he had been wondering when the day would come that she would finally unleash her rage. Poor nobleman got years worth of ass whooping in one evening. Leo is still freaking out. He fears their family's reputation would be tarnished and wonders how their parents would react. Just then, as Prince Julius tries to assure Leo that everything is fine, Scarlet's sight gets blurry and she passes out. Gaining consciousness, Scarlet hears the bells of the Church of Krona, the god of time. She feels this is because she overused her powers. She opens her eyes to see a maid hovering over her with a knife. The maid is startled to see her awake and quickly tries to stab her. It seems like an organized hit, but Scarlet punches the maid away like and into the wall with ease. Having heard the ruckus, Leo hurries in. He is stressed out finding out Scarlet just got another victim. Apparently, she has been unconscious for days, and now, a few minutes after gaining consciousness, she just delivered a KO. Besides this, Leo was truly worried about her. The doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong, and he feared she might not wake up again. Scarlet apologizes for being so reckless, but when Leo tries to make her promise she won't hit anyone anymore, she bluntly refuses. How would she even agree to that? It's like trying to convince Goku not to fight anymore.
Ain't gonna happen.
Prince Julius walks into the room with his usual composure. After seeing how Scarlet is doing, they sit and discuss. The royal family has finalized the termination of her engagement with Prince Kyle. Scarlet's family has approved this too. As punishment for the troubles he has caused, Kyle would be disinherited. Honestly, Scarlet's punch is a more serious punishment. Prince Julius mentions that there have been rumors of illegal slave trade in Prince Kyle's faction. They have to curb this. Scarlet asks if she's going to be punished, and Prince Julius assures her she won't. The royal family considers her indispensable. Prince Julius mentions that she will have to remain single until the domestic issues are settled, but on the bright side, the news of the beatdown she delivered has spread around. She's like a legend, although they totally exaggerate her tales. Once again, Leo gets worked up as Scarlet has been given a new grim nickname. Prince Julius reveals that there will be a lot of replacements, as the people involved in the illegal acts are important people. Their main target is a nobleman named Godwin, and Julius mentions how important it is that they deal with him. Leo says the king and Prince Julius suspect there's someone pulling the strings, someone behind everything, and they formed a plan to shut everything down and serve justice at once. An organization, the Crown Investigatory Office, was formed to carry this out, with Leo being the head. Scarlet inquires if the reason Leo has seemed troubled of late is because he has been rolling with the prince, and Prince Julius points out that Leo is this way most likely because of the trouble she has started. It's actually the combination of them both. Poor Leo. Prince Julius goes ahead to introduce the dude who snitched on Godwin. He mentions that their organization deployed an agent to go undercover and do undercover stuff.
What do you mean by that?
The door opens, and Sigurd, who was formerly Kyle's lackey back then, walks in. Yup, he's the agent. Sigurd immediately starts apologizing for his actions in the past. He clearly resents them. Scarlet doesn't quickly let it slide as your regular anime MC, and Prince Julius gives her the go-ahead to do whatever she wants. To Sigurd, to make up for everything. As expected, Scarlet clenches her fist, ready to beat the daylights out of Sigurd. But just before making the hit, she stops. Sigurd, who was prepared for the worst, looks like he was almost executed and is grateful to Scarlet for showing him mercy and not making him look like Mark at the end of every major fight in Invincible. Scarlet mentions that he also helped her out a few times back then. It's all square now. Scarlet takes her leave, knowing her friends are worried about what happened at the ball. She's relieved to have beaten those dudes up back at the ball, which has led to her freedom to spend proper time with her friends. However, she's shocked that the Prime Minister is involved in shady dealings and suspects he sent the maid who tried to harm her. She gets shown to where the maid is. After she gets in, she finds the maid's clothes on the floor. There's an animal there instead, and it tries to attack Scarlet. Scarlet figures the maid had shapeshifted and points out she only wants to talk. However, she says the maid should assume human form if fighting is the better option. Humans are generally more punchable. The maid shapeshifts back to her original female form and is just a boy. Bro immediately picks up his knife like he forgot how last time went. Scarlet notices the boy's slave crest, which means he must obey his master's commands. She offers to remove it in exchange for information about who sent him. In this world, gods grant blessings that give extraordinary abilities, though many live unaware of their favor. Scarlet's blessing is time-based, which she used back at the ball. She rewinds time till the crest disappears and frees the boy. She was favored by the god of time, Krona, which is why the royal family wants to keep her around. Scarlet mentions that it has limitations, and that using her powers excessively would tire her out, which is why she passed out at the ball. She'd die if she did too much. The kid is surprised by Scarlet's powers, but she tells him not to snitch, threatening to punish him if he does. Any sane person who has received a direct blow from her would never snitch. That aside, as promised, the boy pays his own part of the deal. The one who sent him after Scarlet is Godwin. It turns out Godwin's son was one of the unfortunate dudes to taste her fists at the ball, and Godwin won't let it slide. Although he wants Scarlet dead, that wasn't his main reason for sending the kid. He wanted the boy to spy on Scarlet's house. The boy reveals that Godwin is really crafty. He sent a bunch of spies into different noble houses, found some dirt and leverage on them, and used it to force them into his slavery business. Scarlet, please hit this Godwin dude at any point in the story. Having heard this, Scarlet makes up her mind to beat up Godwin. Yes, she leaves in earnest, but the boy advises against this, pointing out that Godwin has guards and stuff, so more people to beat up. He says Scarlet should stand down and allow Leo and Prince Julius to handle this, but Scarlet finds that boring. She has made it an obligation to beat Godwin to a pulp before he gets arrested. Like, he's going to be begging for the authorities to come for him ASAP. The boy wonders why Scarlet is too obsessed with beating one up, and she replies that she beats up anyone who annoys her. According to her, it's the ladylike thing to do. There's barely any lady like her. The boy mentions that Godwin attends a slave auction once a month. The next one is coming up in a week, and he volunteers to help her get in contact with a slave trader, as he doesn't know where the auction will be held. He asks Scarlet to take him along. Scarlet points out that this would mean him betraying his former boss, but considering all that Godwin did to him, he owes him no loyalty. Scarlet originally wanted to go alone, but has now changed her mind. She asks the boy, Nanika, to come along with her, and of course Prince Julius was listening the whole time. Scarlet and Nanika venture out in search of the slave trader, a middleman. Not being so street smart, Scarlet had gotten scammed into buying a rock in hopes that it was some special stone. On their way, Prince Julius joins them. Scarlet questions why Prince Julius is with them instead of working on exposing Godwin. He explains he wants to experience life in his kingdom before being confined to the palace after graduation, where he'll learn to be a king. Julius expresses his desire to be more than a figurehead and aims to create a perfect kingdom. He wants to join Scarlet and Nanika in exploring the kingdom's dark underbelly, just to avoid missing any amusing moments. As they discuss, a group of hoodlums pull up. This looks like Christmas morning to Scarlet.
Yes! My turn, assholes!
But Nanika wants her to hit the brakes while he tries to talk things out with the hoodlums. He tries asking them about the middleman, but none of them seems reasonable. They give the regular bully-type replies and even mock Scarlet for getting scammed. This does it for Scarlet, who is so pissed she crushes the rock in her palm. The hoodlums make a move, but she throws the particles of the broken rock at them, distracting them and giving herself a head start. She accelerates herself and serves a serious beatdown to the hoodlums. She's moving like a female version of Muhammad Ali, making these hoodlums wish they were goodlums. Bad joke. The last hoodlum begs for mercy, but Scarlet just wants to treat him with the same energy he treats others who are helpless. Bro is so afraid of getting hit that he snitches, mentioning the location of the middleman they were searching for. Good, but he still caught a neat right hook. Even after this, Prince Julius can tell Scarlet still hungers for more fisticuffs just from her blank facial expression. Prince Julius asks to be the one to speak to the middleman. He has a different approach than violence. Scarlet and Nanika wait for him the whole time, and after a while, Prince Julius comes out with all the information they need. There was no ruckus, meaning he didn't use any form of violence. He simply threatened the middleman with a lie. All that is left now is how they're going to infiltrate the auction, and Nanaka has a plan. Scarlet, accompanied by Nanaka, meets with a slave trader named Lord Zatharin, pretending to be in need of a slave. Lord Zatharin oversees the slave auctions and explains that he has a contract with the middleman, Junk, to bring him potential valuable slaves found in the slums. By valuable, he means elves, dwarves, abians, demons, and beastkins. He recognizes Nanika as a beastkin and refers to him as a prized piece, which annoys Scarlet, and she's about to lose her cool. However, Nanika urges her to stay calm. Lord Zatharin, unaware of what he just escaped, finally stops laughing and asks what kind of slave Scarlet is looking for. Scarlet expresses her interest in attending the auction. Lord Zatharin contemplates her request and explains that she would need to undergo a review to qualify for the auction. This requires her to reveal her status and complete at least 6 slave transactions, which basically means it would take about 6 months for her to be eligible. Scarlet insists she will pay whatever it takes, but Lord Zatharin refuses her money. Instead, he wants Nanaka. He proposes that if she hands over Nanaka, he could take her to the auction as the daughter of a distant relative. Scarlet gladly accepts his offer. Namur, after concluding their meeting, Scarlet and Nanaka consider their plan a success. Lord Zatharin did exactly as Nanaka predicted. Nanaka says he's surprised that Scarlet was able to handle the situation without violence, and Scarlet playfully teases him back. The auction is scheduled for 3 nights later. Scarlet asks if Nanika is sure about being enslaved again for the time being, reminding him that she cannot guarantee his safety. Nanika reassures her that he will be fine. He thinks Lord Zatharin will likely put him up for auction, so he won't let anyone harm him before then. He also explains that it's his contribution to their mission, and as a way to make up for his previous attempt on Scarlet's life. Meester feeling tired, Nanaka begins to slow down. Since beastskin are nocturnal, he's naturally sleepy during the day. He finally falls asleep, turning into his beast form. Scarlet carries him back to the inn where they are staying. Inside, she meets Julius, who seems to have been waiting to tease her. He immediately brings up how she managed managed to resolve the situation without resorting to violence and wishes he could have witnessed such a rare sight. Scarlet ignores him and lays Nanika on the bed before heading out. When Julius asks where she's going, she replies that she's going out for some fresh air. He claims he was just hoping to step outside as well. They walk along the street with Julius trailing behind. When Scarlet questions how long he plans to follow her, he responds that he's just heading that way too. A merchant calls Scarlet's attention marketing his apple pie, but she shows no interest. Julius, however, buys 2 pies. They continue down the street encountering various merchants. Julius ends up buying everything he's offered and is now walking beside Scarlet. Scarlet asks if he still has business in the area, to which Julius admits he made that up. He tells her she's quite innocent for believing it. Scarlet punches an innocent wall to relieve her anger, but as she turns to leave, Julius unexpectedly shoves an apple pie into her mouth. The taste instantly transports her to paradise. Julius apologizes for going a bit overboard, but Scarlet refuses to forgive him that easily. Then he offers her his apple pie, and just like that, she forgives him. Take notes, boys. They take a break on a roadside bench. Scarlet observes that Julius appears to be familiar with the city. He confesses to sneaking out of school to explore. When he asks Scarlet about her thoughts on the merchant's quarter, she replies that she was always in a rush to deliver whatever Kyle sent her and never had time to look around. Now she finds it quite enjoyable. Julius is pleased to hear this and mentions that every time he had apple pie, he thought about how much he wanted her to try it. Scarlet realizes that Julius must have wanted to show her the merchant's quarter all along and wishes he had said so up front. Then she wouldn't have been so harsh. Julius casually says that he dislikes being bored. As a child, only twisted and ugly things caught his interest, and he found himself constantly bored by the fools around him who always tried to kiss up to him. Then he saw Scarlet. He watched Kyle bully her, and after Kyle left, Julius approached her, suggesting that she could report to the king if Kyle was frightening her. Scarlet smirked at the idea of being scared by Kyle and called it a very funny joke. At that moment, he realized she was different. Julius says that he finds most things boring, and he wishes for the small corner of the world he occupies to be filled with things that truly interest him. Right now, the most interesting thing to him is Scarlet. He leans in and kisses her cheek, leaving her shocked. Julius clarifies that his feelings aren't the same as traditional romantic love, but she is dear to him more than anything else in the world. When Scarlet returns to her room, she seems disturbed by what Julius did. She wonders if it was just another way for him to tease her. The next day, Scarlet comes back with Nanaka to hand him over to Zatharin as agreed. Zatharin wants to confirm that Nanaka is truly a beastkin. He explains that a wicked person might dress their slave as a rare breed to sell them at a higher price. Scarlet doesn't mind this and asks Nanaka to shift into his beast form. He complies, leaving Zatharin amazed. Suddenly, a buff half-human enters the room. He is Donovan, Zatharin's lycanthrope slave bodyguard. He mistakenly assumes that Scarlet is the slave, but Zatharin quickly corrects him. Donovan finally notices Nanaka. Zatharin warns him to be cautious in how he handles the boy, but Donovan has no plans of adhering to that. He says beastkin are known for their quick regeneration. Without hesitation, he cuffs Nanaka and pulls on it, causing the boy pain. When Nanaka remains stubborn, Donovan takes out a whip, but Scarlet grabs it before he can use it. She remarks that Zatharin's pet needs a little more discipline and offers to administer punishment herself if Zatharin finds it too foolish to learn. Donovan is offended by this and threatens to deal with Scarlet. Zatharin proudly warns her not to provoke his beast, as Donovan is a former A-rank adventurer. Donovan says that it's too late for warnings and vows to take care of Scarlet. 6 Chaceration of Wep, but it doesn't budge. He continues to pull until Zatharin tells him to stop joking around, but bro's not joking. 6 Tralet then politely asks Zatharin if Donovan will also be put up for auction. Zatharin replies that Donovan is actually a trainer for the other slaves and also his personal bodyguard, so no, he won't be up for auction. Excited to know she can do what she pleases, Scarlet uses the whip to fling Donovan and punches him, sending him straight to the stratosphere. My guy thought he was him. He found out. Finally feeling satisfied, she helps Nanaka out of the collar and heals his wounds. Then she hugs him and promises to come back for him. She asks Zatharin about how much she owes for the broken window, but Zatharin says she doesn't have to pay. Instead, he thanks her for helping him discipline Donovan. He now takes her seriously. No matter after Scarlet leaves, she finds a familiar carriage and Leonardo steps out of it. He had been searching for her all over the city until Julius snitched. At the palace, Leo becomes upset upon learning about the plan. He thinks it's reckless and refuses to allow them to proceed. Julius asks what Leo discovered from his investigation, and Leo produces a pile of papers filled mostly with shallow information. Scarlet informs him that the auction is just 2 nights away, which causes him to panic and start formulating a plan. Meanwhile, Scarlet and Julius exchange glances. Julius finally speaks up, saying he doesn't have any apple pie if that's what she wants. However, he offers to send a servant for it. Scarlet is offended that he thinks she's a foodie. Nina Leonardo wants to begin planning for the auction and asks Scarlet to go home, but she declines without hesitation. Leo is frustrated by his stubborn sister. He asks if her refusal is because she wants to hit Godwin, and Scarlet replies that since the night her engagement was broken, she has stopped holding back. She says she has always wondered why it seems the world is designed to make good-hearted individuals suffer while the wicked prosper and can't be punished by normal means. As a result, she concluded that self-serving greedy nobles are the most satisfying to punch. While Leo becomes more frustrated, Julius finds it amusing. Misa Leo gets angry at Julius for supporting Scarlet. He thinks it might have been acceptable when she was a child, but now, if she fights her way through the noble classes, it will ruin their family's reputation. He believes Godwin is connected to Vanquish. The Vanquish Empire is a neighboring territory governed by dragon riders. There have been attempts at peace talks, but no progress has been made. Leo explains that he suspects the Vanquish Aerial Corps and the Red Sky allied dragoons have been in contact with Godwin. Meanwhile, Godwin has heard about Scarlet and how her actions at the ball disrupted their plans. He hires someone to deal with her. Later, someone presents him with a gun as a gift from Goddess Palmia. Godwin is initially unsure what it is, but after being shown what it does, man's impressed. Tyrannus is quite excited about the gun and urges Godwin to use it mercilessly against anyone who stands in his way. Scarlet arrives at the venue where the slave auction is set to take place. As she steps out of her carriage, she thanks Zathrin once again for granting her this opportunity, and Bro cheerfully responds, handing her a mask to wear. If only he knew what our girl was cooking up. Scarlet collects the mask and happily wishes both of them luck in making favorable purchases, while thinking to herself that this will be the last time. She follows Zathrin gracefully as he discusses matters with the security at the entrance, securing their entry. While waiting, Scarlet recalls the plan she made with Julius and Leo to get about 10 CIO agents into the auction. Knowing that the agents will have to surrender their weapons inside the auction venue, they decide to send those who are skilled in combat and can use magic. However, they realize that even with that, they may struggle to arrest Godwin, so all their hopes rest on Scarlet since she can body everyone even without weapons. As the doors open, Scarlet is greeted by a view of nobles enjoying themselves and chattering as they wait for the auction to begin. Meanwhile, a guard informs Leo that the palace knights are in place. Leo tells him that as soon as Julius gives the signal, they will head in. He hopes that Scarlet will hold on to her word that she gave during their strategy meeting. At first, Leo was skeptical about letting Scarlet be a part of their plan, but after Julius convinced him, he made her promise to avoid any unnecessary fights. Despite this, Leo has a sick feeling in his stomach because he knows Scarlet well enough to doubt that she won't get into a fight. This makes him wish he had called off the entire operation. On the other hand, Scarlet observes the other nobles with anger as they discuss which slave they want to buy. Suddenly, the lights go out, and in the darkness, she bumps into someone who immediately apologizes. The voice sounds familiar, but she can't quite place it. When the stage lights come on, the auction begins. Exciting music starts to play, and the nobles are hyped up, too hyped up that one guy even snitches on himself that he plans to use taxpayer money for his purchases, while another woman wonders aloud if she has enough money to buy who she wants. The first slave is introduced, a rare one-winged avian, and the bidding begins. Scarlet watches everything unfold from above with her fists clenched. Just then, Julius appears beside her. When she questions why he is there, he says he came to check on her. He then asks if she has seen Godwin, to which Scarlet replies that she hasn't, but she has some ideas about where he might be. As they head to search for Godwin, Julius suggests they act quickly, as the palace knights are waiting for his signal. If they wait too long, they risk losing their target. Scarlet then asks Julius to tell the knights to hold off a while longer, as she has a score to settle with Godwin. Julius agrees after all. The main reason he joined the undercover team was to see Scarlet punch Godwin, whom he refers to as a fool. However, he asks for something in return. Scarlet decides to swear her loyalty to the crown and the kingdom for the rest of her life. Julius takes her face in his hands and insists she swear it to him, not the crown. Scarlet reminds him that he is the crown prince and that her loyalty would come naturally, but Julius still insists. Since Scarlet cannot handle the riz, she rephrases her sentence and swears her loyalty to him. Meanwhile, the bidding continues, and Scarlet points out that Godwin is upstairs overseeing the auction, so they both leave the auction room to head for him. In the prison rooms where the slaves are kept, a little elf is begging for her mother not to be taken away, but a guard pushes her away violently. The girl is about to run after her mother when Nanaka stops her and tells her to stay put. She sees other slaves praying to be saved. When she begins to lose hope, Nanaka hugs her, reassuring her that both she and her mother will be safe, sincerely hoping that Scarlet can save them. In the meantime, the guards are all knocked out thanks to Scarlet's fist. Julius compliments her, but she reminds him that he scored higher than her on their magic exams, which he finds amusing that she has yet to get over it. As they take the next turn, they encounter some rough-looking men, and Scarlet prepares to throw hands, taking off her gloves. Meanwhile, in the auction room, the speaker announces a break, and classical music starts playing. This also serves as the perfect soundtrack for Scarlet as she hands the men their butt. Within minutes, she takes out all of them and gains access to the room where Godwin is. The men there are surprised to see her, especially when she removes her mask and they all recognize her. Heine, in particular, is more upset since he has already tasted her fist once before, and with that, you think he should know better, but Bro decides to try his luck and summons lightning from above to strike down his enemy. As the spell begins to activate, Julius intervenes with his royal seal ring, which cancels the magic. Godwin and the other men realize that the ring capable of canceling any magic in the kingdom is exclusively possessed by the royal family, meaning that the golden-haired dude in front of them must be the crown prince. They all understand that if this is true, they're all cooked. As a coping mechanism, they choose to laugh it off and stay in denial, insisting that Julius is an imposter. Godwin then signals for Donovan to be brought in, and Scarlet immediately recognizes him. Is Bro changing his appearance every other day? Godwin orders Donovan to take out Scarlet and the imposter prince, but immediately he attacks, he is cut by Sigurd, who is quick to swing into action. Julius tells Sigurd that he is late, as he was starting to wonder where his royal guard was. Sigurd reminds Julius that it was Julius who lost him so he can go off on his own. Scarlet recognizes this as the voice of the person who bumped into her earlier and mentions it to him. Godwin, however, is uninterested in their reunion and commands everyone to attack. Sigurd tells Scarlet and Julius to run, that he can handle it. Scarlet draws him down by his shirt and tells him to handle only Donovan, as the rest are her meat sack and not meant for him. Sigurd immediately agrees. Bro is not trying to catch those hands. As the next music begins, Scarlet is having a really great time flinging a noble around by his leg. The other nobles are speechless, and she keeps increasing her speed, causing those nearby to levitate.
Boy, ain't no way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy.
She is a walking human tornado, and if the butterfly effect were a person, it'd be Sis. One noble unexpectedly flies out into the main hall, surprising the others. Eventually, Leo decides to check in and see what is wrong, having not received any signals. He walks in on the unruly sight of Scarlet stretching with a pile of defeated nobles behind her like garbage. Leo begins scolding her, and Scarlet is like, "It's not that deep, bro." He also sees Sigurd still battling Donovan down in the auction room. Julius enters to inform them that they can no longer hold back the knights, but Scarlet asks him to wait because she hasn't taken out Godwin yet. Julius seems worried and asks Leo to go after Godwin, but Scarlet won't have it since that was not their earlier agreement. Julius tells her not to worry, as he will make sure that she gets to end Godwin herself. Leo, hearing them, does not like the sound of that, and Julius has to inform him that he has exchanged vows with Scarlet, so he must honor his word to her. Leo is shocked and asks Scarlet to confirm if it's really true. Scarlet confirms it, and Leo immediately starts to cry. He is relieved that Scarlet has found love again when he thought she would never experience that type of happiness again. Scarlet is relieved that her brother is happy, and Julius just comments on how clueless they both are before he releases the signal to inform the knights. Feeling excited that his sister will marry again, Leo decides to pursue Godwin using his clairvoyance magic. He sees Godwin and Heine making their way to the roof and sees a dragon approaching. This confirms that Godwin is really working with the Redsky Dragoons. The trio begins their journey to the roof. When they reach the first staircase, Leo comments that even their fastest men wouldn't be able to catch Godwin in time. While he is still talking, Scarlet takes off her shoes and says she will give it her all. She tells Leo to look after Nanaka and the other slaves. With that, she activates her acceleration magic and sprints toward the roof. This magic is the blessing of Corona, which speeds up time around her, allowing her to move faster than a normal human. In no time, Scarlet reaches the roof and spots Godwin and Heine. Even though the triple speed takes a toll on her body, she cannot let her prey escape. By the time they both reach the dragon, Heine starts cursing at Allflame, the Prince of Vanquish, saying he should show men of high status like them more respect and orders him to get down from the dragon and meet them on the ground. Allflame calls them human garbage and asks his dragon Rex to end them. As Rex swings his tail, Scarlet steps in and stops it, stepping on Heine in the process. I think bro is gone.
Oh no! Anyway.
This causes Allflame to come down from the dragon. He is surprised and impressed at how Scarlet stopped Rex's tail and immediately proposes marriage to her, shocking Godwin and even Rex. However, Scarlet doesn't play that way and hits him away. Rex tries to attack her, and she easily puts the beast to sleep. Allflame gets up, even more astonished that not only did Scarlet push him away effortlessly, but she also defeated Rex. He falls even harder for her and asks her to accept his proposal again. Scarlet calls him delusional and punches him away, but he keeps getting back up. With each time Allflame gets back up, he rizzes her even better than the last. Scarlet eventually recognizes him, and he tells her that he is there to end Godwin. Godwin starts yelling at Allflame, calling him a brat for using him to gain information and then cutting him off. He reminds Allflame that he promised to make him a minister in Vanquish, but Allflame responds that he already sold out one country and he can't trust him with another. With that, Allflame throws his spear at Godwin, but Scarlet intervenes, kicking it into pieces. As Scarlet exposes her legs during the process, Allflame seizes the opportunity to grab it, and holding onto her, he starts rizzing her again. Scarlet notices that Allflame has a high level of endurance. He informs her that he received the blessing of metallization from the god of steel, Meteor, which gives him an invulnerable body that can withstand any physical attack. He also observes that Scarlet has a blessing but warns her that she cannot defeat him with mere fists. He lets her go, telling her to step back and allow him to deal with Godwin. However, Scarlet has an idea, a way to defeat Allflame. She locks her hand behind his head, and Bro thinks they have chemistry until his face connects with her knee. Scarlet keeps hitting him again and again and again. When she finally stops, Allflame is in pretty bad shape. He tries to play it off, but he starts getting dizzy. Scarlet had suspected that his head was not made of steel like his body, which is why she kept hitting it. Even with his concussion, Allflame tells Scarlet that this kingdom is not worthy of her and urges her to come with him. Instead, she picks him up, and with her acceleration magic, she sends him back to his country, no plane ticket needed. Now that all distractions are gone, Scarlet focuses on Godwin, who immediately begins to snitch. He apologizes for using Terraneza to break her engagement to Kyle. Scarlet realizes that he was responsible for her humiliation at the ball, making matters worse for himself. Seeing that he is in a deep mess, Godwin tells her that he can be useful to her and shares valuable information, revealing that Terraneza is not from their world but was isekai'd there by a powerful goddess. Meanwhile, Zatharin hurries to the slave cell to at least take Nanaka as a way to recover his losses, but he is halted when Donovan gets dropped like a pathetic sack of potatoes by Sigurd. The other undercover agents are also present. There's no escape. Back on the rooftop, Godwin tries to pin everything on Terraneza, but Scarlet has no idea what he is talking about. All she wants is to start punching. Desperate to avoid being clobbered, Godwin offers to give Scarlet anything she desires. She says she wants a shifty-eyed, pointy-nosed, well-padded punching bag. Godwin thinks he can provide that until he realizes it describes him. Scarlet summons Overclock, a spell that creates a realm where time moves 100 times slower, allowing only her to move normally. She delivers the first punch to Godwin's nose for the subjects he exploited, another for the slaves he tormented, a direct punch to his stomach for treating Nanaka like a toy, a dangerous uppercut for trying to delete her, and a fancy flying kick just for fun. When time returns to normal, Godwin feels the effects of all the punches at once. Scarlet beams with satisfaction, although part of her hair turns black from overusing her blessing. She worries that Leo will be angry with her. As she falls to the ground, someone catches her. She thinks it is Leo, but it is Julius who is impressed by her fighting skills. Nanaka, Leo, and Sigurd rush over to check if she is okay. Scarlet assures them that she is. She apologizes to Nanaka for not saving him as promised, but he doesn't mind. He is just glad she is safe. Sigurd asks where Godwin is, says, and Scarlet points to where she has slammed him, but he is gone. Suddenly, Godwin steps out with his pew-pew and shoots at Scarlet. It happens so quickly, but Julius is quicker. He blocks Scarlet, catching the bullet for her. Bro took Bruno Mars's lyrics personally, except it wasn't a grenade.
It could be worse, though.
Even in such a serious moment, Julius jokingly says Scarlet didn't finish the job. Godwin celebrates. He might not have gotten Scarlet, but he got Julius, who was a bigger threat. Sigurd tries to shut him up, but Scarlet won't let anyone else have her punching bag. She lunges at Godwin to finish the job. Godwin laughs, saying Scarlet's punches won't work against him. Scarlet notices his pendant and takes it off. Godwin asks for it back as if she would just put it back on willingly. He claims it is the Holy Maiden's pendant, which holds the power of the goddess Palmia. Scarlet returns it with her fist. Then she lifts him into the air as she explains the gravity of his actions. Godwin begs for mercy, but Scarlet tells him to apologize to Julius in the next world before giving him a kick that sends him flying miles away. There is no way anyone can survive that. Scarlet declares she has avenged Julius and asks him to watch over them from heaven in peace. However, Julius isn't dead yet. Sigurd has used healing magic on him. Julius asks if Scarlet is disappointed that he is alive, but she denies it, saying she is glad to see he is well. The next morning, all the nobles present at the auction are arrested and the slaves are set free. Godwin has somehow survived, but Scarlet feels much better after fulfilling her desire. Meanwhile, in the Vanquish Empire, a boy finds Alflame stuck in a tree. He collapses the tree to free him and helps him home. They seem close. Alflame explains that he had been propelled into the tree from another kingdom and had used up all his blessings to survive. The boy takes him back on his dragon, asking if Alflame enjoyed the toy he was after. Alflame confirms that he did, and it was far more than he expected. He can't wait until they meet again. Back in our home kingdom, Palestan, news of what happened to Godwin spread quickly. Everyone praises Scarlet, even giving her a new nickname, the kingdom's iron-fisted savior. Scarlet's friends, Envy and Rosalia, are proud of her as they see the news. Reporters and other students are also interested in Scarlet, wanting to know details about her, like her favorite books and the names of her pets. Two girls imagine an elegant white cat or a wise black dog and debate which is better. But surprise, her pet is Rex and she is teaching him tricks like a dog. Nanaka burns with jealousy. Cervantes, Scarlet's butler, comes to inform her that the item she had asked him to develop is stocked with every trader in town. However, he is unsure it will sell. Scarlet assures him it will. Cervantes then points out Nanaka's jealousy. Scarlet invites him for a hug and Bro eagerly jumps into her arms. Some maids scold him, reminding him that they are supposed to be getting ready for a guest. Terraneza enters the dungeon cloaked. She says she is after a happy ending. Two guards stop her, explaining that visitors are not allowed for the prisoners, but Terraneza uses a spell to charm them into letting her pass. She continues her monologue. Her plan is to fall madly in love with a handsome prince, overcome countless trials to be with him, and become a beloved princess. That's the happy ending she longs to create. Such fantasy. But, I mean, that's the point of getting isekai'd. Godwin is pleased to see her. Bro doesn't understand how evil works. He promises to serve the goddess Palmia if Terraneza frees him. Terraneza thanks Godwin for suppressing Dianism, allowing Palmianism to become the state religion. Then she gives him his reward, some charm and a cute bottle of unaliving potion. After that, she leaves, determined to take down Scarlet, whom she refers to as the hateful villainess. Oof, we must be watching from the wrong POV. Godwin is dead. Sigurd informs Julius about it, and Julius immediately suspects foul play. There's no way a self-serving man like Godwin would take his own life. Leo agrees, suggesting that the Terraneza and Scarlet's report may be involved. Just then, Nanaka enters with something he was asked to deliver. Julius continues the discussion, pondering who this Terraneza is. He sees a connection to Palmianism, which signals trouble. Nanaka doesn't know about Palmianism, so Julius and Leo explain that two major religious organizations exist in the kingdom: Palmianism and Dianism. Palmianism, which worships Palmia, the goddess of beauty and love, has recently gained believers among people in power and been declared the official religion, led by a shallow new money merchant. Nanaka understands now why Godwin was involved. On the other hand, Dianism has been present since the kingdom's founding, worshipping Saint Diana, a girl with exorcism powers. Leo argues that many believe Dianism is more deserving of being the official religion, but Julius notes that not all people welcome Dianism either. This reminds Sigurd to ask Leo about the upcoming Dianism ceremony. Julius says he's confident in Leo and even adds pressure by casually mentioning that he knows it won't be simple. Suddenly, he remembers Scarlet and inquires about her well-being. Leo replies that she's doing better, and even went hunting to feed her dragon. Amused, Julius thinks to himself that with Scarlet by his side, he would never be bored. He contemplates asking for her hand in marriage. Leo overhears this and dismisses it as absurd, reminding Julius that he already took vows with Scarlet, pledging their lives to each other. Nanaka and Sigurd are shocked by this revelation. Leo stresses that it's top secret, but an official announcement will come soon. Meanwhile, Julius enjoys the unfolding drama, eager to see Leo's reaction when he discovers the truth. Suddenly, he feels the urge to see Scarlet. Several days later, Scarlet is out riding with Rex. They soon start heading home as Scarlet anticipates visitors. Rosalia and Envy arrive at Scarlet's house and Cervantes welcomes them. Rosalia spots Rex and alerts Envy. They panic, and before Cervantes can explain, they attack. Scarlet is confused as she is blasted out of nowhere. After settling down to discuss, the girls explain that they mistook Rex for an enemy because dragons are often used by hostile countries. Scarlet is delighted to see her friends as she's missed them. She asks how they have been, prompting Envy to boast about her absolute power over the dorm and how fantastic it's been. However, Rosalia snitches that Envy was actually bored without her rival Scarlet and missed her to the point of tears. Envy denies this, and they start bickering while Scarlet enjoys the show. Envy wishes to graduate and marry a fine gentleman, but Rosalia insists suggests there's no need to rush. Scarlet finally joins the conversation, asking if the rumors are true that Envy already has many suitors. Envy denies it, claiming none are serious. She explains that she wants someone willing to risk their life for her. This triggers a memory for Scarlet. Just then, her friends ask her if she has any interest in marriage. Before Scarlet can respond, Nanaka enters. Scarlet assumes he's here to play and asks him to wait, but he replies that he didn't come to play, he brought her visitor, Julius. Julius says he came to check on her recovery. Envy and Rosalia immediately lose their composure and begin fangirling over the prince. Julius asks to borrow Scarlet for a moment to discuss something privately. Both girls squeal in excitement and permit him to take Scarlet, who jokingly calls them traitors as they have left her with no choice. As Julius and Scarlet stroll through the garden, he asks if she heard about Godwin's death. She did. He continues, mentioning that he looked into Terraneza, but Kyle knew nothing about her. He has no other leads and no one seems to know her whereabouts. Scarlet realizes they really couldn't have discussed this in front of Envy and Rosalia. As if sensing her thoughts, Julius asks if Scarlet was hoping he would say something else. However, she denies it and asks if there's anything else he wants to say. Julius changes the subject, pointing that Scarlet's hair hasn't returned to normal yet. She says that she has been considering a visit to the hot springs, as the waters are said to relieve the physical and mental strain caused by blessings. Julius supports her idea, emphasizing that she is indispensable to the future of the kingdom, and he wouldn't want to lose her over something so trivial. Scarlet reciprocates his concern, asking him never to do anything foolish again, like risking his life for her. She wouldn't want anything to happen to the future king. Julius interrupts her, requesting to pick some roses. Scarlet agrees. As he gathers the flowers, he shares a story about how his parents would disguise themselves as commoners to enjoy time together. Scarlet finds it hard to believe about the strict-looking king and queen. Julius explains that they only appear serious on the outside. He says his father showered his mother with so many gifts and marriage proposals, and while she found it exhausting, one particular gift touched her heart. Not a glittering crown of gold and jewels, but something made with love and his own hands, a rose crown. Julius places a rose crown he just made on Scarlet's head, telling her that he needs her and that his normally gray world sparkles with colors when she is by his side. He professes that she has stolen his heart and asks her to stay with him always. Scarlet is moved. The moment feels romantic and all, until Julius goes ahead and ruins it by saying something stupid like calling her his beloved toy. Scarlet quickly snaps back to reality and, just to confirm, she asks if the feelings he put into her rose crown were love. Julius confirms it was, but adds that it was love for his exceptionally amusing toy. Scarlet is offended, but Bro doesn't shut up. He makes things worse by asking if she was expecting romantic love, remarking that it's understandable given her age, but he's so used to seeing her punch people through walls and beat prime ministers half to death that he nearly forgot she's human. He continues, suggesting that if that's the kind of relationship she desires, but Scarlet interrupts him, already gearing up. Yes, she wants to clobber the jerk prince in front of her. A few nights later, Scarlet can't shake off her thoughts about Terraneza's disappearance and all the shady Palmian doings. Something feels off. She also worries about Saint Diana. Scarlet makes up her mind to protect Diana no matter what. The next morning, she goes to see her brother Leo, asking for permission to go on a hot springs tour. Leo immediately suspects it's just an excuse to punch someone. He says he can't trust her anymore, especially after the whole vow with Prince Julius lie. He'd actually thought she had finally found her happily ever after. Nanaka guesses that Scarlet is probably planning to punch the saint this time, and that actually makes sense to Leo. Scarlet always tries to go traveling around this time every year, and her route just happens to be the same as the Holy Land pilgrimage. Scarlet insists she'd never do that to the beloved saint. Leo reluctantly approves her trip, but warns her not to cause trouble. Scarlet leaves happily and finds Julius waiting for her outside. Turns out, she's not going on a hot springs tour at all. She's accompanying Julius on the Holy Land pilgrimage, though he wants to keep it secret. Ever since the Godwin incident, neighboring nations have been acting sois, and Julius suspects spies might be lurking around, hence the need to keep their moves secret. Their journey leads them to the Wall of Impurity, the barrier surrounding the religious quarter where the pilgrimage begins. The quarter is run by Pope Sargon, a corrupt Palmian cleric and opportunistic merchant. Scarlet instantly wants to clobber him. Their carriage halts when the gate slams shut. A guard announces that the Pope has ordered no one be allowed through without the king's approval. Julius realizes the Pope is deliberately stalling the pilgrimage. He steps out and calmly explains that the king is away at a conference, something the Pope already knows, so this blockade is just petty spite. Jarmov, one of the Pope's followers, overhears and storms over, fuming. Scarlet steps out too because, hey, if there's going to be a fight, she's not missing it. As Jarmov runs his mouth, she thinks how satisfying it would be to punch the pig. When Jarmov finally makes the terrible decision to attack, Julius had a recording magic item all along to capture everything. He's done his part. Time for Scarlet to shine. She strolls over to open the gate. Jarmov laughs, mocking her. He says it's impossible to break the gate right before she literally breaks it down with her bare hands. Everyone freezes. That's when Jarmov realizes who she is, the infamous Lady of Beatings. His men scatter like pigeons. Still trying to act tough, Jarmov stays to fight. Scarlet borrows a spear from a guard. When he throws his weapon, she blocks it and sends it flying back with double the force. Jarmov isn't injured though. Turns out he's got a pendant with healing powers. Just how daft are these men to keep revealing it? Scarlet doesn't mind. She delivers a brutal uppercut that launches him sky high, satisfying. Just then, a group of knights arrives, led by Captain Paragas. They were supposed to escort Julius and Scarlet, but got delayed dealing with Palmia worshipper riots. Another knight, Dias, joins them and immediately falls head over heels for Scarlet. Julius tries to remind him about knightly manners, but Dios just casually acknowledges him. Paragas tries to discipline him, but Dios dodges every swing until Paragas manages to grab him. Dios gives in. He gets on his good manners and introduces himself as head knight. When Scarlet introduces herself, he instantly asks her to be his girlfriend. friend. Scarlet is amused, but doesn't like that he's crossing boundaries. She's about to deck him, but he catches on and releases her hand. Julius takes her hand instead, demanding Dios show some respect. Dios smirks, saying he gets what's going on but still refuses to back off. The other knights drag him away. Paragus apologizes, saying Dios is incredibly skilled. Scarlet's already noticed his reflexes were sharp enough to sense her incoming punch. Then she tells Julius to let go of her hand. Bro didn't even realize he was still holding it. Embarrassed, he apologizes. Scarlet asks what Dios meant by understanding the situation, but Julius dodges the question, saying they should go see Saint Diana. When they arrive, Julius immediately requests a private room to discuss the pilgrimage. His request is granted. Diana bursts in, all excitement and sunshine, hugging Scarlet first. Julius feels jealous and thinks she should greet him first, but she'd rather be with Scarlet. They finally settle down. A little backstory. The Holy Land pilgrimage began 300 years ago, back when monsters from the Demon King's realm frequently entered their kingdom, until one day, in a village near the border, a girl appeared with the power of exorcism. She deleted the monsters and sealed the borders using holy gems of purification, creating a barrier that kept the monsters out. After her death, the barrier gradually weakened, until another girl, also named Diana, appeared to restore it. The king built a cathedral in honor of both girls, founding Dianism. Ever since, whenever the barrier fades, another Saint Diana is born to renew it. This is the current Diana, who just happens to be obsessed with Scarlet. The pilgrimage's purpose is to purify the holy gems and recharge the barrier. Diana complains it's exhausting having to stand the whole time, but Julius says the people need to see their saint alive and strong. He says that after losing her powers, she should at least show some dignity in front of the people. His words sting, and Scarlet steps in, but Diana brushes it off and ends the discussion. She invites Scarlet to stay the night. Julius can tell she was bluffing, and Scarlet says he should have been nicer to her then. That evening, Scarlet tells Diana a bedtime story about beating up a noble. Diana gushes. She wants to be like Scarlet, beautiful, strong, independent. She says she dislikes men, though Julius isn't that bad, aside from being an annoying tease. Scarlet says he teases her too. Diana immediately takes her annoyance out on her pillow. Before sleeping, Diana wonders aloud if there's a silver-haired, blue-eyed prince charming somewhere out there to whisk her away. I mean, she's totally describing Scarlet, but Scarlet doesn't catch on, just says that combo is rare. Diana pouts and decides to go to sleep but doesn't want Scarlet to leave. Scarlet nicely refuses. Diana has one more request. She was named Diana, like every other saint before her, but she wants a special name, like the name her father gave her, Sanya. As Scarlet stands to leave, she refers to Diana as Saint Sanya, which makes Diana's whole night. As she returns to her room, Scarlet reflects on how broken Diana had been after losing her saintly powers. She hopes the ceremony goes smoothly. The day arrives. Everything starts perfectly. Diana looks good. The people are joyful. Julius and Scarlet watch proudly. Then, boom. Explosions. Chaos erupts as Diana tries to calm the panicking crowd. Scarlet leaps out of the carriage. She senses the blasts came from the Palmian Cathedral. She enchants her body and sprints toward it. She spots the perfect weapon on a massive statue of Goddess Palmia. She decides to take it, destroying the statue. Scarlet casts an acceleration spell and hurls the spear into the cathedral. The Palmian disciples inside stand around in confusion. The spear had ignited their gunpowder, blowing everything up. Scarlet appears, proud of her handiwork, only to be surprised that they're somehow unharmed despite the explosion. The men, furious, demand to know who she is. One of them recognizes her instantly. Of course, her reputation precedes her. They take this as their chance to destroy the evil incarnate herself and call on their leader to deliver judgment. Bro's hair looks like someone did a Thanos snap on it twice. When he sees their goddess's head in Scarlet's hand, realization dawns, so that's where the spear came from. Scarlet isn't the least bit remorseful. Grandpa's livid now and ready to deliver some divine punishment. Just as he begins casting his spell, his face gets smashed by the statue's head. Scarlet removes his protective necklace. It's over for him. He starts rambling about their plans to disrupt the Dianan festival and how Scarlet has ruined their hard work. Scarlet thanks him for the confession and knocks him out. The others charge in, but she shows no mercy, knocking each of them unconscious one after another. By the time the guards arrive, Scarlet's work is done. She leaves the arrest to them. Back in the town center, calm has returned and royal healers are tending to the injured. She finds it very responsible of Julius. Diana spots Scarlet and waves, but before Scarlet can wave back, the carriage tips over, throwing Diana off. Everyone panics watching her fall in slow-mo until someone on a white horse swoops in and catches her just in time. It's Leo. Diana instantly falls in love. Meanwhile, in the capital, Sigurd reports to Julius that the situation has settled and the Holy Land pilgrims have departed safely. Julius is pleased, but suspicious. He believes there's a spy among them. Only members of the pilgrimage would have known when he and Scarlet were arriving at the religious quarter, yet the Palmians had a trap ready. He gives Sigurd a mission to infiltrate the Palmians to learn what they are after and find the traitor. On the pilgrimage, Leo asks why Scarlet decided to tag along. She claims she just happened to be in the capital, witnessed what the Palmians did, and joined in the name of the greater good. Leo doesn't buy it. He knows his sister too well, but he lets it go. When he brings up the rumor that someone had already beaten up the Palmian disciples, Scarlet denies it, saying she was invited for something only she could handle. Leo guesses it involves her blessing but doesn't pry. He figures Julius must have sworn her to secrecy. He reminds her she doesn't have to do everything alone and that she can always rely on her big brother. Scarlet gladly agrees. That night, during a rest stop, Dios is being his usual nuisance. Scarlet is observing everyone when two servants approach, saying Diana is acting strange. Scarlet assumes it's because of her earlier incident, but the girls insist that's not it. Curious, Scarlet checks checks for herself and finds Diana hyperactive and flushed. She tries to calm her, but Diana says she can't. The thought of her Prince Charming makes her heart race. Everyone freezes. Diana gushes about her love at first sight, and Scarlett finds it adorable. She praises Diana's taste as Leo is indeed a wonderful man and offers to help her get closer to him. Diana is unsure. It's her first time feeling this way, so she doesn't know what to do. Scarlett has an excellent plan. A week later, they reach Memphis, a city on the eastern border. It's the first stop on the holy pilgrimage, famous for its hot springs. While bathing, Scarlett and Diana review their plan. Diana thinks that inviting Leo out for a nighttime date might be too bold, but Scarlett assures her it's the best thing. As they get ready, Scarlett advises her to let her hair fall naturally for a composed aura and to wear the city's traditional outfit to blend in like a common girl. The idea is to show a new side of herself. Scarlett says that's how you catch a man's attention. Diana is awed by her wisdom and promises to do her best. Scarlett then opens the window and calls out to Nanaka, who's been secretly tailing her. She instructs him to guard Leo and Diana. Nanaka is stunned that she knew he'd been following her since the capital. Leo's orders, of course. She commends him for doing a good job, and Diana joins in petting him. Before leaving, Nanaka informs them that Leo has finished his bath and is now working in his room. Diana goes to Leo's room and nervously invites him to tour the city with her. Leo recalls Scarlett telling him about Diana's wish to experience life like an ordinary girl and her request that he accompany her if she asks. He agrees, and Scarlett, satisfied, decides to go out too. While she enjoys her own night out, Julius suddenly appears. Having finished his duties early, he decides to join her in having fun. Scarlett insists she isn't having fun, though her hands full of snacks say otherwise. She claims she's monitoring the local adventurers, reminding Julius that Donovan from the slave auction used to be one. Julius calls it a waste of effort. Not every adventurer is villainous. He doubts she'll find anyone deserving of her fist. Right on cue, they hear a commotion. Some adventurers smashing a merchant's pots as a way of venting frustration. Julius immediately takes back his words. He buys all the pots, broken and intact, giving Scarlett the chance to do whatever she pleases. Scarlett gives her goodies to him and steps in to handle the situation her way. Meanwhile, Leo senses something's off, though Diana is too busy having fun to notice. She runs to play a goldfish scooping game, struggling adorably. As Leo watches her, he's reminded of Scarlett as a child. He shows Diana how to play the game, helping her catch the fish. The brief contact flusters her, but she's thrilled that she has finally caught a fish. She agrees to take it home, but changes her mind and decides to release it, saying it would miss its friends if she took it away. Leo is impressed by her kindness. They continue their outing, enjoying different activities and even getting matching hairbands against Leo's wish. But Diana couldn't be happier. Lost in her excitement, she nearly bumps into a group of drunk men. But Leo quickly pulls her close, warning her not to stray too far, especially in such places. She apologizes. She's glad he's being nice to her, but she knows he's basically just babysitting. When she points it out, Leo apologizes, admitting that she reminds him of a younger Scarlett. Diana disagrees, saying Scarlett is poised, elegant, beautiful, and strong, while she's just a clumsy tomboy always needing other people to protect her. Leo assures her she has done an excellent job in her role despite her age, and that she's an indispensable asset to the kingdom. She's about to say something when the sound of commotion interrupts. A knight rushes over and whispers to Leo what his beloved sister is up to. Leo panics, orders the knight to escort Diana back to the inn, and hurries off. Diana was just about to confess that she no longer has her powers. Elsewhere, Paragas, Dios, and several knights are returning when a merchant offers them snacks. Dios eagerly accepts, but Paragas snatches it away. Dios pouts, then slips away as usual, but into a dark alley. He pulls out a note the merchant had secretly slipped him. Gasp! The traitor. Meanwhile, in the Vanquish Empire, a Palmian inquisitor named Michelin meets with Alflame and other members of the Red Ski Dragoons, asking for their aid. Pope Sargon receives a report that the pilgrimage has arrived at Memphis. They all panic, but Sargon tells them to be at ease. He assures that everything will be fine. Besides, they have a special spy in the midst of the pilgrims. Sigurd, undercover as a guard, hears this. The pilgrims have a long walk up the mountain where they'd find the holy gem of Memphis. Diana is really exhausted, but Scarlett assures her they're close. Yeah, but the assurance isn't going to carry her, is it? Diana almost falls, but Leo helps her. She gets so flustered that she starts buffering like a bad network. The men are tired too, but Scarlett can see they're doing their best. She commends them for it. To the men, she is really kind, almost like a goddess. They're motivated to put in more effort. I guess they haven't really seen her dish out near beatdowns before. She gets into a discussion with Julius, and he mentions that she has the ability to act all sweet and innocent, when deep down she's terrifying. As they discuss, Dios pops up and is all over Scarlett. She simply just blows him away, alongside a poor bug, mid-speech. Finally, they get to the holy gem. Leo can tell just how seriously corrupt it is. As he analyzes this, he sees Scarlett heading into the saint's changing tent. He informs her, innocently believing she must be mistaken. The poor guy might get a heart attack. Scarlett casually reveals she's a saint. This sends Leo into panic mode as he subtly crashes out. She has gotten mixed up in this, and he wants an explanation. After receiving the go-ahead from Julius, Scarlett begins her explanation. She mentions that Dianism doesn't have just one saint. Both she and Diana are saints, although only one saint is made known to the public. They're both blessed by Cronoa. One saint removes impurities from the holy gems while the other reestablishes the barrier. Considering Diana won't be able to play her role in the ritual, Scarlett has to do a lot more. Using her blessing, she rewinds time and restores the gem to its purified form. Everyone is awed. Leo now understands why the royal family betrothed Scarlett to the second prince and why Julius still hangs around. After the ritual, Diana goes to meet Scarlett. Despite smiling, Scarlett can tell Diana isn't happy. When asked, she says she's upset as she couldn't help out since she's powerless. Scarlet comforts and assures her that she'll do her best to get back her powers. Dios watches from the bushes. As they travel, Julius remembers getting a report from Sigurd telling him about how they've been compromised as there's a spy in their midst. His mind drifts as he wonders who it might be. The weather is really cold and it doesn't sit well with Scarlet. What use is punching if her hands are also frozen she can't feel the hit? Julius asks her to bear the conditions till they get to the Lord's manor. He's confident they'll get a nice warm welcome as usual. However, when they get there, the people of the town hurry into their homes like there's about to be some big fight. Some dude who looks like he auditioned to play the imp in Game of Thrones, Count Padrak, is out there with a bunch of soldiers. He claims Diana is a fraud and that the whole pilgrimage thing is a scam to extort money from the people. He seems really serious about this and they can't change his mind. Leo explains that the money taken from the citizens is used for the good of the town. He adds that if Padrak chooses to stand in the way of the purification rituals, then it'll attract serious consequences. The kingdom will be destroyed. Padrak mentions that he doesn't need them as he has a new saint. He happily introduces the new saint, the saint of Palmianism. It is Tereneza, and her face seems okay, considering Scarlet had pounded it in the last time they met. Hope Sargon's son is there as well, and he holds a grudge against Scarlet as well for the ball incident. Scarlet sees he's intimidated and even points out that he's about to cry. She politely asks if she can offer him her fist in place of a handkerchief. Really threatening offer. Tereneza doesn't hold back anymore. She realizes some magical dust and everyone who sniffs it becomes her loyal pawns. They look like they could take a hit from the Incredible Hulk for her sake. The Pilgrim Army, as well as Julius and Leo, all cover their nostrils. Hence they don't breathe it in and aren't affected by the magic. Scarlet figures this is what Tereneza used on Kyle, and Tereneza taunts her, rubbing it in her face that she stole Kyle from Scarlet. While this doesn't mean anything to Scarlet, Tereneza is still going to get some serious beatdown regardless. The magic doesn't work on females, so Scarlet is fine. She happily prepares herself for what's to come. Tereneza orders her men to take down Scarlet, and they have a good strategy pinning her down. However, Scarlet came prepared too. She's able to break loose from the magic and start serving the beatdown heavily. It's like she pulled her domain expansion. Chamber of broken noses and fallen teeth. Tereneza freaks out as Scarlet beats her way through her men and finally clears the last line of defense. She's about to deliver the finishing blow on Tereneza when a barrier comes up, preventing the hit from connecting. It looks exactly like Diana's powers. Just then, Dios reveals himself to be on Tereneza's side as he takes Diana hostage. They're all surprised. Dios requests a trade, Diana for Tereneza, threatening to unalive Diana if they don't comply. Leo immediately asks Scarlet to let Tereneza go. When she does, Dios releases Diana and flees the scene with Tereneza. Leo hugs and comforts Diana, relieved that she is unhurt, but Scarlet is really exhausted. Julius asks her to rest easy, as they'll handle what's left. Just as she passes out, she asks that they save the final hit for her. While unconscious, Scarlet encounters Cronoa. They converse, and Cronoa makes a special request, asking her to recover Diana's stolen powers. These powers were taken by the goddess Palmia and her priestess, Tereneza. Palmia and Cronoa had a history, and she was jealous whenever he bestowed his blessings on anyone. Since they cannot interfere with the affairs of the realm, she created her own priestess to carry out the task. However, she couldn't create a soul, so she stole and made use of one from another world. Palmia used Tereneza to target those blessed by Cronulla and attempt to destroy the kingdoms under their protection. Hearing this pisses Scarlet off, and she's ready to throw some hands. Cronoa hands her the Time God's pocket watch, which will aid her in reclaiming Diana's blessings. Additionally, he enhances Scarlet's power as much as possible. Now, she is essentially like Mike Tyson with superpowers. Scarlet squares up. She can't wait to put her upgrade into action. Before becoming a saint, Sonya got into a fight with her friend, and like every other kid's beef, they decided not to be friends anymore. That night, Sonya's mom read her a bedtime story about the saints, advising her to be as kind as the saints. Sonya doesn't think she can, considering she just had a huge fight with her friend. As the story went on, she fell asleep. In her sleep, she received a blessing and was made a saint. Sonya woke up in the morning, test running like a kid who got bitten by a spider. She checked to see if she had powers. After confirming this, she happily told her family about it. But of course, they didn't believe her until she showed them. From that moment, Sonya's life was never going to be the same. People started treating her almost like Argentines treat Messi. They basically respected and worshipped her as she's a saint. Sonya felt off, but this wasn't all. It wasn't long before the Dianan clergy came along, and as they took her, she wished she had never told anyone about her blessing. She got briefed on the whole saint thing, and it made her realize that nobody wanted the old her. Everything shifted when she met Scarlet. Scarlet treated her kindly, and to Sonya, she became an idol. She once wondered how Scarlet managed to be so perfect. Sonya felt she was just a little girl without her blessing, compared to Scarlet, who is basically She-Hulk. Scarlet never saw Sonya as worthless, pointing out that her cheerful nature brightens people's days, something only she could do. But Sonya never believed it. Deep down, she felt she was awkward, jealous, and constantly on edge about what others thought of her. In the present, Julius asks to see Diana. He sits by Scarlet, who is still unconscious. Diana wonders how Scarlet is doing, and Julius mentions that she hasn't woken up yet. He doesn't seem to be in a good mood, and Diana figures Julius knows she betrayed them. Yup, pick up your jaws, folks, and don't let it drop again. Julius mentions that the high-ranking Palmian they captured snitched. Diana accepts the accusations and admits that she's at fault for the bad things that have happened as a result of her betrayal. She wonders what Julius plans to do to her. Julius mentions that he won't arrest her, as arresting a saint will bring disorderliness. Also, Scarlet wouldn't be happy to learn that something bad happened to Diana while she wasn't awake. Julius Julius decides that Diana can still go about freely for the rest of the pilgrimage. However, he asks why she betrayed them. Before his question is completed, they get interrupted by blinding lights from outside in the direction of the Holy Gem. Terraneza is carrying out another one of her evil schemes. She destroyed the Holy Gem easily, and Nanaka witnesses this as he spies from the bushes. Two dudes that look like they just came out of Naruto report to Terraneza. They've just returned from their mission. From what they discuss, Nanaka figures the Palmasians also operate in other realms. He hurries to inform Scarlet and the rest, but he gets discovered before he escapes. Terraneza puts our boy to sleep. Leo makes a report to Julius. He mentions that the Holy Gem has been destroyed and that thousands of monsters have started coming through the barrier and will arrive in about half an hour. Julius finds it weird as random monsters don't usually act as a unit. He orders that the Holy Order be summoned. Hopefully, they fight as good as their name sounds. Julius gives a command to move all the citizens to safety. Just then, Sigurd reports to him that the enemy forces are marching against them. At this point, the chaos is just too much. Julius orders that after the citizens are evacuated, their forces should move to the capital, which is where the enemy is headed. He mentions that he'll leave for the capital before them. Diana still remains by Scarlet's bedside. She blames herself and cries in regret for the betrayal. Just then, Dios arrives. Ro had no trouble putting the guards outside to sleep. Diana immediately mentions that she isn't spying for the Palmians anymore. She had joined because she was helpless and desperate after losing her powers. Dios had shown up and promised that the Palmians would help her bring her powers back if she fed them information. It was a tempting offer, and of course, she agreed with the condition that the information wouldn't be used to hurt anyone. Dios points out that if Diana stops spying for them now, all her hard work will be lost. But Diana is bent on not betraying Scarlet and the others anymore. Dios then attempts to attack Scarlet in her unconscious state, but Diana tries to stop him. She can't do much and is easily overpowered. Someone should have told this dude that as long as Scarlet isn't dead, messing up around her is a bad idea. Just then, Scarlet regains consciousness and quickly goes into fisticuffs mode, punching Dios away like she possesses all for one and probably unleashed 1000%. Diana is relieved that Scarlet is fine, and Scarlet is relieved that she got to punch someone as the first thing after gaining consciousness. Julius rides with Sigurd on their way to the capital. He mentions to Sigurd that if the situation gets too serious, they may be forced to surrender. Their journey is interrupted by a messenger who introduces himself as Jin from the Vanquish Imperial Red Ski Dragoons. He's a vice captain. He brings a letter from Prince Alflame. Dios gets bundled and tied up by some soldiers before Scarlet finds him again. She asks that the guards leave her alone with Dios as she has some questions for him. Dios tries to be smart and is able to cut the ropes and make a run for it. Unfortunately, Scarlet pauses time and puts Bro back on his butt. Scarlet just wants to know Dios's true feelings towards Diana. Back when her palanquin fell, he was ready to jump in and save her. Scarlet mentions that Dios looked like a worried brother. Wait, how does that even look? Dios does argue and rather just accepts, revealing the truth that Diana is his half-sister. However, their family tree branched and interconnected for that to happen. It's true, he hasn't told Diana about it, not yet. Dios mentions that he only found out when he went to secretly visit his father and probably ring the man's head like a bell with his fist for abandoning him and his mom. But then he saw Diana, innocent and cheerful. He wanted more than anything for her to remain cheerful. For this reason, he joined the Palmians as he believed they could restore her powers and make her happy again. But since Diana doesn't care about getting her powers back anymore, Dios has no need to work for Palmia. He quickly switches sides like someone pulled a switch, and as his first act against them, he hands Scarlet vital information about the Palmians. However, Scarlet isn't quick to accept this, mentioning that this doesn't change anything considering all he did against them. Scarlet points out that if Dios really wants to redeem himself, he should simply open up his heart, whatever that means, as his words are worthless. Scarlet forgave Diana for what she did, mentioning that she should apologize to everyone when everything is settled and accept whatever the punishment is. Even after the betrayal, Scarlet is still nice to her. The monsters are still marching in numbers, as the citizens are being moved out following the coming danger. After grasping everything that's going on, Scarlet realizes she has to handle this first, before helping to restore Diana's powers. Just then, she sees Julius, which is weird as he's supposed to be at the capital. No matter how convincing this seems, Scarlet figures it isn't the real Julius. She knocks him out and he turns out to be Nanaka, who is under Terraneza's powers. As soon as Nanaka gains consciousness, he immediately apologizes and tells her everything he has learned about Terraneza and the other realms working together. However, Scarlet puts him at ease. This is old news, man. Were you stuck in ice? She mentions that she's heading for a strategy meeting about the threats to Palestan. She just can't wait to finally use her fists. Palestan is surrounded by other nations, Falconia, Eldon, Limburg, and Vanquish as well. They're all really powerful nations, so yeah, they can easily bully Palestan. Julius explains that they declared war on Palestan as soon as the Holy Gem of the North was destroyed. Also, the monsters, who are about 50,000 in number, were able to pass through a hole in the barrier. They're cooked. Julius mentions that he believes the monsters are being controlled as they're marching for the capital, orderly. Both Falconia and Eldon have been at their border but haven't made any move yet. It's almost as if they're waiting for Palestan to be weakened from the monster attack. That'll lessen their job. The bad news and morale-killing atmosphere were just a preface to the main meeting. Thanks to Julius, everyone feels like it's their last day on Earth. He finally brings good news, revealing that one of the nations has decided to side with them, so they would be indebted, of course. He ushers in Alflame. As much as the majority of people in the room want to pounce on Alflame, as they wouldn't accept him even in their wildest dreams for what he did, Julius mentions that the alliance is necessary. Alflame is still not showing any remorse, clarifying that the entire Vanquish nation isn't in on the plan, it's just just him. He laughs about it till he actually gives Scarlet reason to hit him. When he's down, Jin, his vice, speaks for him. Jin explains that the Vanquish Empire doesn't select new leaders by bloodline. To be crowned, one must be the strongest fighter. Flame is back just in time to explain more. He states that he wouldn't lose a one-on-one fight, but occasionally things could get out of hand and could turn into war. Flame's reason for helping Palestan is so they could help him out when the time comes. Nice, but Julius wonders what difference Flame would make to their army, since it's just him and not the entire Vanquish army. Flame proudly replies to this, bragging that he has tons of dragoons. They'd easily clear out the monsters. Half the problem is solved now. Julius has a plan for the remaining threats, the other nations. He wants to try talking and avoid battle if possible. He already sent a messenger to Lindbergh and they agreed to stand down. Julius is hoping to get some intel on the other two nations from Flame, as he had taken a detour on his way to do some scouting. Flame is impressed that Julius noticed this, but it was actually Jin who told Julius to establish trust between them. Flame is still impressed that Jin thought to do that. He mentions that they spotted a small number of Falconia's forces in the woods. They were a mixture of races, and he suspects it was a scouting team. Julius believes Falconia is likely to listen to their negotiations, as they never really desire to expand their borders. It seems like they were convinced to join the fight. If Falconia drops out, then this changes things, as Eldan would reconsider too. It's a question of who is going to go for the negotiation. Well, one thing is certain. It's definitely not going to be Scarlet. She would use her fist instead of words. Julius wants Dios to go, as this is his thing. Nanika wants to go too, as he's positive he can convince his kinfolk to stand down too. With this, the meeting comes to an end. Scarlet is prepared for battle when she sees Dios and Nanika arguing over which route to use. According to Sigurd, they've been at it for a while. When Scarlet asks, Sigurd affirms that he and the remaining knights will join the battle the next morning and pledges not to let the invasion happen. Scarlet makes her pledge as well, but she's using her fists instead of swords or anything realistic for a battle. With this, she heads over to join Flame and his dragoons against the monsters. She flies on a dragoon, almost giving Leo a heart attack. When she arrives, the Vanquish guards think that she's Flame's bride and that the dragoon she rides is a present from him. Flame even addresses Scarlet like they have a thing, and Scarlet makes her dragoon roast him for it. It's too late, as his men already believe him. When the jokes are all over, they lock in and head into battle against the monsters. Scarlet finally has the opportunity to let loose, as she's surrounded by a bunch of punchable monsters. She finishes them off as if she's making art, enjoying every bit of it. Flame is impressed that Scarlet wasn't shaken by the sight of the ugly monsters. Scarlet explains that the monsters are only physically ugly. She has hit nobles who are uglier on the inside. Just then, some Vanquish guards report to them in panic, mentioning that the boss of the monsters has taken one of the guards hostage. Flame and Scarlet immediately head over there for the grand finale. The monster boss, a pig-looking creature, can speak. This surprises Scarlet. The monster mentions that he has evolved and it's all thanks to Terraneza. The monster keeps on gloating and even brings out the hostage for a showcase, and this pisses Scarlet off. With a single punch, she takes off its head. But this doesn't end the fight, as the monster is able to move its head to any part of its body. This doesn't stop Scarlet, and she rains punches on Bro. But the monster still stands, claiming its body is really strong. However, Scarlet had a plan all along. She had made all those punches, slowed down the time of effect, and finally released everything. The multiple punches hit at once, and the monster falls. The Vanquish guards rejoice and praise Scarlet, who looks like she low-key wishes for more punchable stuff. Scarlet doesn't need the praises, she only did it for her nation. However, these guards pretty much idolize her now. Just then, Scarlet receives a message from Dios and Nanaka. They report that there's an issue, and that the negotiation with Falconia wouldn't work out. Nanaka and Dios experience a setback as they are unable to get through to the woods. They've got Battle Royale literally taking place right before them. The dragoons, who were supposed to create a simple diversion, have abandoned the plan and thrown themselves into an all-out fight with the monsters. The battlefield is a mess, and there's no way for Nanaka and Dios to slip through. They report the problem to Scarlet. She immediately says she'll handle it and head straight for Flame. After reminding him of the actual plan, Flame, being her #1 simp, jumps into action. In his usual dramatic style, he creates a massive diversion that finally opens the path. Nanaka and Dios make their way toward the forest. On the way, Nanaka studies Dios and asks if he truly came to negotiate. Dios says his royal elven blood is his bargaining chip, but Nanaka remains suspicious. Dios notices and asks why Nanaka didn't object to him from the start. Nanaka explains he didn't want to upset Scarlet. She's already suffered betrayal from Dios once, and Nanaka is waiting to see if it happens again. Dios admits he doesn't understand why they're being so Disney-like and treating him kindly at all, since betrayers should be hated. He mentions that he hates his kin. Well dude, that sounds like a you problem. Their talk is cut short by an ambush. Attackers controlled by Terraneza's spell surround them, attacking without hesitation. Before the fighting starts, the elven chieftain appears. With a single gesture, he puts the attackers to sleep. Nanaka quickly mentions the ceasefire negotiation, but the chieftain says the chaos has nothing to do with him. He only came to rescue his people from Terraneza's spell. As for the war, he reminds them that the Beastkin clans declared it, so they're the ones Nanaka and Dios must negotiate with. He turns to leave, but Dios stops him and reveals his offer. He's willing to trade the wind spirit power his mother passed down to him if the chieftain orders the Falconian army to stand down. Meanwhile, Scarlet scouts the battlefield. She spots Flame injured with monsters closing in. She rushes to him, wipes out the monsters in moments, and stacks up their bodies like waffles. After healing him, Flame worries about his men, but Scarlet assures him the situation is under control and gives him a quick update. At the end of the day, Scarlet and Julius receive news that the Falconian army has withdrawn their forces from the border. This could only only mean Nanaka and Dios succeeded. They're a bit relieved, but Julius mentions that all isn't done yet. Even so, Scarlet points out that it isn't such a bad idea to catch a break. That being said, Julius walks up to her and hugs her, or whatever bro is doing. They end up creating that one cliche romance novel cover photo pose. Flame interrupts the K-drama atmosphere with his arrival. He's straightforward, asking Scarlet to come with him to Vanquish. He explains that he doesn't want her sticking around as they'd eventually go to war with Eldrin. According to him, it's easier to save her before the war breaks out. But it's Scarlet. She lives for those kinds of moments. Scarlet appreciates the offer but mentions that she has responsibilities to Palestine. However, Flame feels she shouldn't waste her efforts helping out the nobles, who don't even appreciate her. Just then, Julius steps in, interrupting Flame's convincing speech. He mentions he won't give Scarlet up to Flame, who had just fallen in love with her not long ago. Surprisingly, Julius adds that he has 10 years worth of feelings. Flame is ready to throw hands when Jin steps in and stops things from escalating, always being the mature one. They finally take their leave in grand style, and Flame asks Scarlet to stay alive and safe, hoping to meet again sometime. Later, Leo updates Scarlet and Julius on the current state of the war. Eldon haven't withdrawn yet. Their army still holds at the border. Julius figures that they won't be willing to negotiate considering they're still at the border and willing to fight without the aid of the monsters and Falconia. Also, he suspects Eldon must have some plan or trump card, and Scarlet mentions that the Eldon army is probably waiting for Terraneza to make a move. Terraneza is trouble, especially because she could easily destroy the holy gem with her divine instrument. However, they don't know how to get to her. Luckily, Dios pops up stating that he knows exactly where she is. He goes into more detail, and they figure out that Terraneza is going after the western holy gem. If she successfully destroys it, more monsters will come through the barrier, and Eldon plans on attacking then. Leo worries that it might be too late to stop Terraneza if she's already headed for the western holy gem. However, Dios mentions that there's still a chance. Terraneza's magic won't be fully recharged to use the divine instrument until after about 3 days. That's enough time for them to find and stop her. They plan on taking Diana alongside. After Scarlet tells her about the instrument she got from Chronoa and that it can help her get her blessing back, Diana agrees to join them. Although this troubles Dios, there's nothing he can do as she has made the decision. He'll just have to protect her, and luckily, Leo also vows to protect her. She got the 2-factor authentication. Later on, when they're alone, Scarlet asks Julius what he meant when he said he had 10 years of feelings. Julius doesn't answer this. Instead, he changes the discussion, mentioning a good food combo he'd want them to try when the chaos is over. Meanwhile, Terraneza is crashing out. Things aren't working out as she expected. Palmia, on the other hand, is pretty chill about this. She mentions that things went south because Terraneza didn't follow her instructions. She wasn't supposed to match the monsters to the capital right away. Palmia mentions that Terraneza overlooked the small villages, so basically Palmia wanted a massacre. Terraneza explains that while she wants to rule, it would be pointless if there were little or no one left. Cutting to the chase, Palmia confirms that Scarlet and the others are coming after Terraneza. However, Terraneza is positive she has enough time to recharge before they get to her. She promises to take down anyone with the blessing of Chronoa, almost like reassuring Palmia. Plot twist: the spell she cast on Nanaka didn't fully wear off. Terraneza uses this to perform one final task, casting a spell on Julius. Scarlet and the others begin their journey, advancing towards Terraneza. As they fly above, Diana notices the town below is ghostly. The people of the town had moved out. If they play their cards right and defeat Terraneza, everything should go back to normal. Diana might be afraid, but she's willing to do the best she can, even without powers. They finally arrive at where Terraneza is. Nanaka senses that Terraneza is with a large group of people, most likely her army. Alongside Dios, Nanaka leads Scarlet and the others in. Scarlet's Dragoon tries joining them through the small path, but it bashes its head on the entrance so hard it might actually lose centuries worth of memories. Scarlet tells it to stay behind, as it is too big to go in with them. Just as she goes ahead, she hears a voice bid her goodbye. She isn't sure where it came from, so she assumes it's just her imagination. As they head into the building, Nanaka senses something off on the path. He figures the Palmian guys have set up some booby traps. Just as they try to be calculative, Scarlet casually walks ahead into the area. The first wave of traps, arrows, comes at her, but she easily takes them down. Everyone is stunned as she goes through the rest of the traps easily, like a knife through butter, and like Akaza's hand through Rengoku. Sorry guys, bad joke. They finally make it to the Palmian dudes, who before now could have sworn that their little traps were enough to do some damage to Scarlet and the others. They're surprised, and Scarlet thanks them for the lovely warm-up. They don't waste any time in attacking, but the feeling is mutual, as Scarlet is eager too. All the ops must catch these hands. She beats up a bunch of them. Right before this human version of Master Oogway shows up, the old man Michelin uses a spell from his staff to weaken Scarlet. Dios warns Scarlet of Michelin, mentioning how tricky an opponent he is. Julius hopes there aren't any more reinforcements for the Palmian army. He asks Leo to take a look through the building with his powers, and Leo does. Leo scans through till he finds Terraneza, but the influence of the divine instrument she possesses affects his eye. Luckily, it isn't anything fatal. Leo reports that Terraneza is all alone with the holy gem and confirms that there are no reinforcements. Michelin soon discovers Diana and is ready to take her out to please Palmian, but the members of the Holy Order lock in and are ready to protect Diana. They're about to start fighting when Michelin tries his dirty trick again, but this time, Dios stops him. With Michelin still in possession of his staff, this bout won't be an easy one. Julius tells Scarlet to advance with him, go after Terraneza and leave this to the others, but Michelin isn't planning on letting them through. He puts out his staff and his spell is in effect again. Scarlet can't do much. She summons some wind wind, but this cracks Michelin up, as he came prepared too. He glazes himself, as he has a counter in case she tries casting a spell. However, Scarlet uses the wind to perform a physical attack instead. She compresses the wind she summoned and sends it at Michelin. The pressure knocks him down. Julius is impressed, and Scarlet mentions she learnt the skill from her tutor back when she was a kid. With the feats she has, at this point, they can only wonder if she's even human. Scarlet and Julius can now match onward. Before leaving, Scarlet assures Diana that she's going to restore her blessing. Diana believes in her. If there's anyone capable of doing it, it's Scarlet. The two groups clash, and the ultimate fade begins. As Scarlet and Julius go further, they encounter Avalon, one of the dudes who rolls with Terraneza. Julius has this one covered and asks Scarlet to go after Terraneza. Avalon is quite sentimental about his looks and Julius's. He considers them both the most beautiful men in the world. However, he says the world needs only one beautiful man, confident that it should be him. That being said, he wouldn't mind unaliving Julius. He pulls out his weapon, which was hidden all this time. Julius figures this is why Avalon wasn't detected by them. He isn't interested in the beauty contest, however, he wouldn't mind mopping the floor with Avalon. He pulls out his weapon too, and they're about to throw down. Scarlet finally gets to Terraneza and immediately gets down to business. She doesn't do the whole good guys talking stuff, doesn't give the writers time to piece together some sad backstory. She just straight up throws one of the meanest right hooks. Surprisingly, Terraneza isn't hurt, but this is great, right? Because Scarlet would rather it didn't end so fast. Back at the all-out battle, things are still heated up, and Diana gets targeted. An arrow is shot at her, but Diaz jumps in. Bro is up there alongside Captain America's shield, Nisapool and Quicksilver from Avengers Age of Ultron as the world's best shields. Although Diana is worried, Diaz claims he's fine. Just then, he remembers he doesn't have the protection of the wind spirits anymore. It's all good though, he'll live. He pulls the arrow out of his back and assures Diana that he'll protect her. Terraneza is pretty confident with the power she has in her divine instrument. It could easily destroy the holy gem at the moment. However, she has to deal with Scarlet first. The fight begins, and although Terraneza casts spells like she schooled Dumbledore, Scarlet is able to evade the attacks. Scarlet gets to her, knocks the staff out of her hand, and only holds back on knocking her unconscious because she has to recover Diana's powers. She takes out the device Chronoa gave her and holds it out as she was instructed. Diana is doing her part in the battle, healing the wounded, but at this rate, the Holy Order wouldn't last. Michelin is back up again. He puts the Holy Order at total disadvantage, casting his spell on them. They're all down, and the battle is really one-sided. Just then, Diana's blessing gets restored. Scarlet succeeded. Immediately, Diana casts a protective spell on the Holy Order. She's resolved, promising not to let anyone get hurt anymore. Seeing as her blessing is back, Diaz is happy for her. Julius's fight with Avalon is heated, and they both match each other's skills, but eventually Julius outsmarts him and ends the fight swiftly. However, Julius knows Avalon was holding back. When he asks, Avalon reveals he isn't allowed to harm Julius. Terraneza's plan has been in motion all along. Avalon explains that his sword can cut through reality and link two distant places. He had done this without Julius noticing. On the other side of the tear is the temple where Terraneza is, and her spell is already coming on Julius. Avalon commends Julius for resisting the spell for that long, mentioning that it was a good move to use Nanika to cast a resistance dampening spell on Julius beforehand. Julius can't hold out for long and finally gives in. Now that Diana's blessing has been retrieved, nothing is stopping Scarlet from putting Terraneza to sleep. Terraneza puts on an act, trying to sell a sob story. Scarlet doesn't fall for it or pity her, but it stalls Scarlet long enough for Julius to arrive. After Julius attacks and sides with Terraneza, Scarlet is left confused. Julius is completely under Terraneza's control, and even as she orders him to take out Scarlet, he squares up and is ready to do just that. Terraneza is confident that Scarlet would never hurt Julius, but it turns out she is wrong. Scarlet never backs down from a chance to run a fade, no matter who is on the receiving end. She charges straight at Julius and lands a devilish blow that sends him flying. Terraneza is completely stunned. She points out how heartless Scarlet is for laying her hands on her prince. Scarlet, however, explains as she keeps attacking that the beatdown is actually coming from a place of love. She rushes him again with her fist of love, clearly aimed to knock his teeth out and rearrange his face. Julius keeps dodging her attacks though. They properly engage in a fight, and Julius manages to hold his own. Scarlet wonders how Julius fell for Terraneza's trap in the first place. She asks him if he truly prefers Terraneza. Julius, still under the spell, remarks that it is nice to see Scarlet jealous, acting like a real girl her age for once. Terraneza grows tired of their constant back and forth in the middle of the fight. She steps in and ends it by holding Julius at blade point. Scarlet finally backs down, and Terraneza finds this amusing. She notes that she could have easily made this her opening move. Taking a closer look at Scarlet, Terraneza notices how exhausted she is, and that her blessing has weakened as well. From the way things look, Scarlet would not be able to stop her now. Terraneza demands that Scarlet surrender or Julius dies, and Scarlet gives in, admitting defeat. With that settled, Terraneza begins casting a spell, explaining that it will steal Scarlet's blessing. With Scarlet's blessing in her possession, Terraneza believes her goals will be effortless to achieve. She orders Julius to restrain Scarlet, and he obeys. He walks up to her, only to pull a rom-com main character move by hugging her instead. Scarlet is completely confused. Terraneza suspects that her charm is wearing off. Annoyed, she believes this is because of Julius's blessing, the heroic tale. Scarlet is both confused and curious, as she had no idea about this until now. Terraneza explains that the blessing was created by Origin, the creator and god above all others. This blessing grants its user unlimited power, which awakens when the person they love is in danger. Terraneza is confident that she will soon claim that power from Julius. Julius. Even as the blessing starts reacting, Julius insists that he feels nothing for Scarlet. This only annoys Scarlet more since at this point he feels like he is just playing with her emotions. She fires back that she does not feel anything for him either. Terraneza is thoroughly enjoying the situation and might as well grab some popcorn. With how things stand, Julius's blessing will not activate unless the love is mutual. Scarlet's thoughts race as she recalls the moment Julius jumped in front of her to protect her. She wonders if the reason his blessing did not activate back then was because of her. Wanting confirmation, she asks Julius if his blessing would grant him enough power to overcome all dangers, including Terraneza's spell, if it were activated. Julius questions why she is asking, pointing out that there is no chance of the blessing working since they do not love each other. That is obviously Cap, and Scarlet just wants it to stop. Julius finally confirms that his powers would indeed be enough to overcome any threat. Hearing this, Scarlet feels relieved and prepares herself for what she is about to do. Her girly side slips out as she speaks up, asking Julius to save her. With that, she leans forward and kisses him. Julius is completely stunned, unable to say or do anything. In that moment, his blessing activates. Julius regains control of himself. He admits that he was worried when Scarlet said she felt nothing for him. Scarlet points out how much courage it took for her to pull off what she just did. Julius simply pats her on the head and tells her to leave the rest of the battle to him. Terraneza completely crashes out and launches a furious attack. Julius blocks her blast with ease, comparing them to a gentle breeze. As soon as the assault ends, Scarlet rushes in and manages to leave a scratch on Terraneza. At this point, Terraneza is losing it. She cries out in anger, legit tweaking. Finally, Palmia appears in person. Palmia comforts Terraneza and grants her a power-up. Now nearly mindless, Terraneza unleashes an incredibly powerful attack. The force of it shakes the entire building, causing parts of it to collapse. Diana quickly raises a protective barrier over everyone as debris rains down. She pushes herself past her limits to make sure no one gets hurt. Julius and Scarlet survive regardless. Realizing that they would have been completely cooked without Julius's blessing, they know the fight needs to end. They attack again, but Terraneza refuses to go down, regenerating almost instantly whenever she is injured. Scarlet does not mind this at all, since it allows her to keep attacking freely until she is satisfied. Julius then points out that Terraneza will die in a few minutes anyway, as her body cannot handle the amount of power she is wielding. He suggests that they could simply wait it out, but Terraneza refuses to let things end like that. She has not yet landed a punch that makes her feel better, truly living up to the title of a heroic villain. Understanding this, Julius uses his power to grant Terraneza protection. He explains that it will last long enough for her to land her satisfying punch. Scarlet is grateful, but doesn't thank him. She says he's indebted to her because he was blessed by her amazing lips. With that, Scarlet charges straight at Terraneza. Thanks to Julius's protection, Scarlet reaches her without a scratch. She stops time and delivers the meanest uppercut imaginable, sending Terraneza flying into the sky. The battle finally ends, and Scarlet is satisfied. After everything settles, Diana uses her blessing to renew the protective barrier, and Scarlet praises her for a job well done. Later that night, Dios runs into Scarlet as he is about to leave. Julius had given him a choice between becoming an intelligence agent for Palistan, essentially a spy, or going to jail. As Dios talks with Scarlet, Diana approaches and says she wants to speak with him. Dios suspects that she knows they are half-siblings. Regarding what happened during the battle, when he protected Diana, she thanks him. She explains that in the past, she only carried out her duties as a saint because she believed it was all she was good for. Now, she genuinely wants to protect the people of the kingdom. Dios is happy to hear this and immediately gets hyper-teasing her. Classic big brother energy. He successfully rage baits her before leaving. Julius later hosts a tea party, and Scarlet heads there with Leo. Along the way, Leo fills her in, explaining that once Terraneza was defeated, everything else quickly fell into place. Sargon and the other bad Palmians were brought to justice. The rest of them turned against Terraneza after realizing that Diana was not a false saint, leading to the dissolution of the Palmian religion. Scarlet asks Leo if he knew about Julius's blessing, and he confirms that he did. He explains that Julius never wanted to talk about it. Even if Julius had outright told him, Leo doubts he would have believed it. Julius is extremely calculative, and Leo admits he is not even sure how much of what happened was actually planned by him. This makes Scarlet start wondering as well. Then it clicks. Julius had set things up so Scarlet would be in danger, forcing her to rely on his power, confess her feelings, and awaken his blessing. He deliberately allowed himself to be charmed. Lightheartedly, Scarlet tells Leo that she will head ahead on her dragoon as she has some business to take care of. Scarlet arrives at Julius's party riding her dragoon. Diana, Sigurd, and everyone else are already there. As she lands, Julius offers her some pie, but she wants to get straight to the point. Before she can speak, Julius asks to say his part first. He gives her a few kissing tips to remember, just in case there is a next time. With that out of the way, Scarlet asks for one last thing. Squaring up her fist, she asks to send Julius flying. At that exact moment, Leo and Nanaka rush in, trying to stop her, but it is already too late as the punch is about to connect.